welcome to Your Wrong About Musicals. I'm Esme,
And I'm Nell.
and today we're going to be talking about Oliver. And we started
Oliver.
singing then, because there is the song literally goes, Oliver, Oliver,
Oliver.
never before has a boy wanted more.
I was today pulled an all-nighter. This is the
Yeah, Nell's
preamble
not
to this
slept.
episode.
Nell's
I've not slept.
She
I pulled
texted
an
me,
all-nighter.
yeah, she texted me about like 9 and went, I'm going to be so funny in today's episode, and I went, I don't know how you're beating last week's, but I'd like to see you try.
I have had 6 coffees. 7 coffees. I miscounted. I've had 7 coffees. I'm actually still drinking the 7th. It is freezing cold, but I'm kind of like I am a little bit sick, if you can't tell from my voice. I have written one of the essays due. The other one is due in 20 minutes. It's going in late. This is more important.
Before anyone's like, I forced Nell at gunpoint to record. I was like, whenever you're free, I'm around.
Esme texts me and she says, Nell, if you don't like sabotage your uni education, should I come and record the Oliver episode? I'll kill you. And I say, Esme, no.
I'll sell your Hades Town OBC ticket.
I would love that.
And no, but I'm keeping the profit.
Yeah. The reason I was gonna bring it up was because of what you said about singing Oliver, which was that in my all-nighter, I listened to piano version of the Animal Crossing soundtrack when I'm studying. Fun fact about me, I can't listen to anything else or I'll like die.
See, I can
You'll
listen to...
notice, Esme, I have to say or I'll die in a passive tone, and I can't use the active one because I've been ruined. And I'll explain that in a second as well.
I can listen to anything. Should I tell you what I can't listen to when I'm studying?
Hades Town?
No, I can listen to Hades Town.
Really?
How do you think it came to be my second most listened to album of last year?
Jesus.
If not that. Yeah, my top 3 albums of last year were Torture Poets Department, Hades Town, Norman fucking Rockwell. No surprises. The only thing I can't listen to is Natasha Pierre and the Great Comet of 1812.
I get too into it.
I just sit there and want to think about what happened at the Donmar.
I think that's my thing. I get too into the musicals. There's no musical I can listen to all the way through where I wouldn't care for the whole time. Where I'd be like, yeah, I'm just studying. But basically, that was kind of my thing. I was listening to this Animal Crossing soundtrack, and then when I would take my breaks in between my hour-long study sessions, in this beautiful armchair in the library, oh my god, it was a lovely all-nighter. I'd be like, okay, I need to put on some other music.
Yeah.
So I did go back to my 70s rock playlist for a bit. And then I was like, no, we need musicals.
Here's the thing, we all have a 70s playlist.
We all have a 70s playlist.
I have my 70s playlist. I'm so annoying about the 70s. It's not even funny.
I know.
I'm so annoying. Bitch! Do you want to talk about your love of the 70s?
No, I'm annoying about the 70s, but in a different way. In a worse way.
I think I'm pretty annoying about the 70s in quite a pretentious way.
Yeah.
And she's definitely read too much Fabulous Idiot way.
Yeah. But it hit 5 a.m. and I was like, I cannot listen to another second of Bowie. I will die. I listen to another second of Bowie. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna listen to this musical playlist I made for my friend. She still hasn't listened to it.
A lot of time and dedication went into that.
I know. I was like shuffle in it. I was like, fuck. Every single musical song on here is sad.
Yeah, musicals are sad.
Fuck. We need a good song. I had to listen to Go 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 Joseph. I was like, this is the happiest song on this fucking playlist. And I need to hype myself up.
I listened to Starlight Express.
Well, it's a banger.
Because it's just complete nonsense, but it bangs so hard.
See me hustle.
Exactly. The thing is, will literally has shocked my brain into working again. I have a new dog. Her full name is Little Ray. I had no input in naming her really. So my dog's new name, it's a rescue dog, first female dog we've ever owned. Which is kind of crazy. Her name's Little Ray. It does sound like Lana Ray, but I wasn't involved in naming her. I got sent a list of names and was told to say which ones I didn't like. The only ones that I did like were Kit and Ray, and no one went for those. No one wanted to call her Kit. And then I was like, okay, Ray. Is that actually Ray after Star Wars? And then I was on the phone to my mum today, seeing how the dog was settling in. And I went, so what's her second name? You know, all of our dogs have 2 names. And she went, Little Ray, and I went, interesting. Okay, I didn't realize that when you were calling her. She's also the biggest of all of our dogs, like size-wise. She's bigger than our other dogs. Yes.
Okay, one of your dogs is like a toy.
Yeah. Like, it's not hard.
How the right
It's not hard to be the biggest of my dogs.
Slightly bigger toy.
No, she's like what they call miniature. So big news, new dog. She's incredibly cute. Let me show you a photo of her now.
Okay.
Listen, this was her. This was her in the car. This was her with the other dogs. So you can tell that she's kind of bigger.
Yeah, God.
That's what happened. Anyway, we have some news to get through, believe it or not. First off, we're going to start sad with some actually quite devastating and tragic news, and then we'll return to jokes. The drag queen known as the Vivian died, unfortunately, quite tragically. Very little is known. They're deciding to keep that private at this time. Yeah, it was really quite tragic. Because weren't they literally on tour at the moment with Chitty 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 Bang Bang?
Yeah, I think so.
Playing the child catcher.
Someone's awake.
I figured. And it seemed like they had a long career ahead of them in musical theatre specifically. So it's obviously very tragic when someone passes like that. We're going to move on now to something not tragic. Helena Bowes is rumoured to be playing Evita. I mean, she's been rumoured to be playing Evita since before the production was officially announced. It was her and Gaga. Those were the two names that were thrown around.
I still think it could be Gaga.
Yeah, we were having this discussion
it could
literally last week of like, is it actually Gaga or not? And I was like, I don't think it is. I think if they were to bring the production to Broadway, then it could be Gaga.
Yeah.
So basically, the same guy who broke the official news about Andrew Lloyd Webber's new musical was the same guy who was like, I heard the rumor that Ariana DeBose is starring as Evita. So we're all like, I bet you the press release will come out next week, and can tickets please go on sale soon, because I'm willing to spend money on this. Evita, my favourite Andrew Lloyd Webber, unironically. So I'm very excited about this. Next up is another piece of news that I don't think... I thought we all knew. I thought we all knew this.
Broadway's worst kept secret.
The Broadway Bee have been making tweets about this for a solid year.
Did they put something out, like, specifically?
No, but they every so often will just make a joke about this, and I'll be like, yeah.
I feel like they must have said so. Hold on, I'm gonna look.
They did staff meeting when it was first, like, rumoured last year.
You noticed someone watching and immediately broke character.
Yeah.
That was all they put out.
Every so often they'll make a joke like that, and it's like, oh, that's about... basically, Hugh Jackman and Sutton Foster officially are dating. But it's like, literally the worst kept secret ever. That was the biggest staged catwalk I have ever seen in my whole entire life.
Honestly.
I loved it when people were shocked. I was like, yeah, guys, this has been going on for a solid year. Next up, Rachel Zegler has sparked rumours. Well, she hasn't sparked them. She's just posted stuff, and Rachel Zegler fans are like Taylor Swift fans in the way that the second she posts something, they read into it. Rachel Zegler poses with Kenny Ortega and posts a "We're all in this together" thing, and people are like, she's in the Phantom of the Opera as Christine. She's gonna sound amazing.
It's an adaptation again. It's not a musical adaptation. It's a book adaptation. I'm very excited.
Rachel Zegler
is still my thing. I would love for Rachel Zegler to be Christine.
Yeah.
So much.
Yeah.
I do really want Christine to be blonde.
They can slap her in a blonde wig.
Yeah. Yeah, to be fair. As long as she's blonde, I'm happy.
That is literally only one requirement.
I really want her to be blonde.
Yeah, it means a lot to you.
I also want to be in it. My second requirement. Kenny Ortega, if you're listening.
Kenny! My boy! Yeah, so I've seen a lot of people saying, like, oh my god, she's going to sound so good singing. She might sing an opera aria, because Christine is an opera singer.
Yeah.
She ain't going to be singing the sweet, sweet tunes of Andrew Lloyd Webber.
She'll be singing... I mean, I was going to do it off the top of my head. I could get the book. One of many.
I made a TikTok about this, because it was pissing me off how everyone was like, she's going to be...
She's going to sound so good singing Think of Me.
No, she does.
Think of me!
She does, but she ain't going to be singing Think of Me in this.
I know. Ugh.
People are so stupid.
Who else do I want in this? My heating's turned back on.
Amazing.
I would love Mike Weiss in it.
Mike Weiss could be a good Row.
Oh,
Rao's
no.
brother.
Rao's brother is like 40 years old, first of all. So that would be so good. I reckon, unironically, they're going to have like, no, do you know what I think they're going to do? Unironically, I would bet money on this. I think they're going to have Sierra Baguette play Carlotta.
Yes.
Alternatively, funnier thing they could do, which I actually believe they should do, I don't think they will. I think it would be better if they had Sarah Brightman play Carlotta for multiple reasons.
Yes.
They won't.
They won't.
They will have Sierra Baguette play Carlotta.
Or they'll cast someone completely random.
Oh my god, no. Sarah Brightman, what is her name? I know it. I talk about her all the time. Christine's like adopted mother.
Oh, yeah. I don't know a name like that, but yeah, I know who you're on about. The one that she's living with in Paris.
Yes, the one who's there for the conversation of, I was not in your dressing room.
Yeah, your favourite line.
I was not outside the door.
Your favourite line
inside your dressing room.
Great See, in the TikTok when I was like, listen to Nell talk about it, she can quote it.
I was not outside your door, mademoiselle. I was in your boudoir.
I love the use of the word boudoir.
Every single translation is different. Some of them are like, I was in your closet. I was in your wardrobe.
They're all
Someone just like, I was in the dressing room. No, I think Sarah Brightman should play. What is her name? The only name that's coming to mind is the fucker from Les Mis.
Fontaine.
No.
Cosette.
Madame.
No, sure. Thénardier.
Yeah. That's not her name.
That's definitely not her name.
Oh my god, I have the book like in front of me. I'm gonna look. I'm not gonna be able to rest until I remember what her name is.
No.
You're gonna actually love this, but I did open in the exact right section. Madame Valerius.
Okay.
That should be Sarah Brightman.
Doing an inexplicable British accent even though they're in France.
Yeah.
I would like to see it, actually.
Who else?
Because one of them is going to have a fuck-ass British accent.
Yeah. I can't wait for people who are fans of the musical and not the book. Oh my god. Madame Giry is not a dance teacher. Holy shit.
Their minds are going to explode when they realise that there's no singing apart, like, there's...
I can't wait. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Do you know what I am most excited for?
What?
The Persian.
I was gonna, like, I said in my TikTok, I was like, there's characters who aren't in it, there's a rat catcher, although apparently he's in the musical.
The rat catcher is in the musical.
I did say apparently he's in the musical. Okay?
He is in the musical. I've seen him.
Yeah, I was like, get all the person for this.
Can I just say as well, something really funny that I had to point out to my sister because no one else would really get it, is I think it was genuinely one of the headlines when Jean-Marie Le Pen died.
Yeah.
But they had a headline which is just like, Jean-Marie Le Pen mort. Just simply is that. But like, quite famously, the headline that they tell like them to publish when Eric dies is Eric est mort. Like, Eric is dead.
Yeah.
And I just sent it to my sister and they're like, nah.
He
got the Phantom.
They caught him again. Also, like, people's heads are going to explode when they realise that the Phantom isn't, like, this deeply mythological creature who has superpowers. Right. He's just a disabled guy.
He's just kind of... Loser. He's so sweet. I love him. My little boy, Eric.
Moving on from Phantom Corner. Wicked snubbed again!
Avenue Q takes home the Golden Globe.
Avenue Q takes home the Golden Globe. I made my tweets of, like, yeah, Wicked snubbed again. I still get why Avenue Q won the Tony in 2004.
Yeah.
However, I also discovered what the plot of Emilia Perez was this week.
It's crazy.
Why weren't we talking about that more? That song is crazy, and I know I'm seeing it out of context, and I know I'm not getting the whole thing, but it is.
I don't think there's any context that can make it better.
No, and I have seen like people who are trans who have seen the whole movie being like, I didn't like it. It was weird. It was kind of offensive. And then Mexican people being like, why is this French guy writing about this deeply Mexican issue? Emilia Perez, what the hell's going on there? Also, in my TikTok, I've been bored this week, so I've been TikToking quite a lot. And I was like, I haven't watched any of the other nominees. I have. Challengers. They put Challengers in comedy for some reason. I loved Challengers.
I've still not seen it.
Maybe better than Wicked.
Damn.
I was on the edge of my seat. I've never been...
I've seen Wicked, by the way.
You've never seen Wicked! As the #1 Ethan Slater defender,
He was so good.
He is, like, he's so good at getting the mannerisms down, so when he becomes the Scarecrow...
Oh my God, I was in love with him the whole time. I, like, could not take my eyes off him.
His March of the Witch Hunters is going to be insane.
It's going to go crazy.
I forget about
that.
I
might have to go on, like, opening.
No, if there's a midnight viewing, I'm going.
No, let's go together. Let's go see March. Yeah. We'll both be in London.
We'll both be in London. We can go together. I can go cry my eyes out at like 3 a.m. to For Good, which is all I want to do. And you can sit there and cheer at Ethan Slater's growl and March for the Witch Hunters.
Oh, yeah.
Wicked is a good film. I was very apprehensive. I've been very apprehensive the entire time, but now that I've seen it, like, I have complete and total trust in John M. Chu's vision for this.
Yeah.
I also understand why it has to be 2 parts. Because Wicked makes no sense. I'd be interested to see what I thought about the musical now. Like, if I were to go see the musical tomorrow, how would I feel about it? I don't think I'd like it. Anyway. This is massive news for me, going back to how I feel about the 70s. Stereophonic is coming to the West End.
I really like the tweet that was like, I'm not sure that people aren't going to be aware that this isn't about a Welsh band.
I did see that, and I do agree. However, I was in my kitchen, thankfully by myself, listening to Passion of Poe's audiobook when I saw the news, and out loud I
was literally writing my essay, and I took a break, and I saw it, and I was like, I have to tell Esme. What if she doesn't know? I've
signed up for the email list. I'm on it. I'm on Stereophonic. I could go on my birthday, 21st birthday. I could go and see a 3-hour play about a fake 70s rock band.
Oh, it's your dream.
Now that is unironically, that is my idea of the best time ever. Like, as someone who listens to Masquerade like it's a real rock song, this is massive for me. I love you, Stereophonic. I love you so much. I'm not seeing you yet, but you did have Fleetwood Mac allegations, like legal allegations that you were copying Fleetwood Mac too much, so obviously I have to love it. What's up next? Host for What's on Stage Awards with Maz Murray and her sister hosting this year.
Exciting.
Always excited for What's on Stage Awards. One year we will go. Not this year, because we're busy, but next year maybe.
At some point we'll go.
Imelda Staunton and her daughter are in a play this summer. Apparently, it was banned because it talked about class too much.
I'm gonna love it.
And I was like, this sounds very interesting to me then. Much to Do About Nothing casting announced.
Yeah.
I'm more interested about seeing Much Ado About Nothing than I have ever been about The Tempest.
I'm actually furious that I had to go see The Tempest and not Much Ado About Nothing. You know, it's the second time I've seen The Tempest.
I've never seen The Tempest before in my life. You asked me what it's about, I have no clue.
It's about the storm.
Okay.
It's kind of boring, if I'm being honest.
From the reviews, I've gathered that this is boring.
Years ago, I don't know if you know about this, at the Barbican.
The Barbican,
I believe,
did used to do a lot of Shakespeare, or still does. Yeah.
They had this, like, sci-fi version of The Tempest on, and I went to go see it with my family.
I saw the Macbeth where there's a countdown, and because I was bored, I just spent the entire second act looking at the countdown.
Very fun. The sci-fi Tempest was fun. They have the character of Ariel, who's like a spirit in the original. They had her just be like a robot. That was fun.
Interesting.
Yeah, I saw Jamie Lloyd's Tempest. It was fine. I think I talked about it already, right?
You vaguely said it wasn't good.
It was just, I feel like Jamie Lloyd's bit is getting a bit old.
I'm excited for the Vita because his bit lines up perfectly with Evita, if that makes sense.
Yeah. It was just...
Also, like, he did an interview this week about, like, what his vision for Evita is, and he's like, it's basically a remount of my 2019 production of it, which was basically Sunset Boulevard, like, the first try.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm interested in that. I don't know. I'm just really looking forward to Evita. So nothing can...
I feel Jamie Lloyd's style of directing and, like, his style of production, I feel like, honestly, just isn't great for Shakespeare.
Yeah, I don't understand why he keeps doing Shakespeare.
Like, Romeo and Juliet didn't work.
No.
The Tempest isn't working.
No.
I feel like Much Ado could be fun. But I just love Much Ado About Nothing.
I am
It's like the best play.
Cautiously apprehensive. I love Much Ado About Nothing. I am cautiously apprehensive about Much Ado About Nothing. I've always thought Much Ado About Nothing would be better. I don't know, that's because I'm just a Much Ado About Nothing stan. Yeah. Anyway, the Jonathan Larson Last musical cast have been announced. I'm not being a bitch when I say this because I think they're all talented, exactly who I expected to be in it.
What was it? I remember the phrase you said, but say it again. When I
Be
said,
more
"Oh, it's been
chill,
announced."
more chill rejects. I'm right though.
They're all very talented people, and I'm sure it'll be very good.
You can just tell not Jonathan Larson,
Dude,
he's dead.
I don't know
Joe
if you can hear the
Iconis.
fucking shouting going on from.
No, I cannot. It was only that one time I was able to hear it, and that was like quite startling.
I know. I'm kind of happy it finally came through
Yeah.
because it is like that all the time.
Oh, I can imagine it being like hellish.
Did it make it into the video? The video? Oh
Yeah,
my
but
God.
it didn't then like when it didn't transfer correctly, so you couldn't really hear it. You could just hear me like stop mid sentence and go, "Whoa, what the fuck was that?"
Okay. One day it needs to make it into the recording. I'll just ask, I'll text. Okay, he did just scream, so I think because I've got my mic like pointed away from the
I heard
wall,
something move. Like it felt like a door was slamming then. What was I saying? Yeah, well, I know Joe Iconis has been at the scene of the crime, so anyway. But the Boop marquee is up.
Very excited.
I keep forgetting that Boop is happening. There's so much on this season, which I just have no idea it's happening because, like, I don't know. I'm intrigued to see how the season's gonna play out because in my mind, I already know what the front runner is for best new musical, but like we've still got an entire another season. Like the real season picks up February
Soon.
Like
It's the 9th.
Guys, we are so close to the first preview of Operation Mincemeat.
And as massive Operation Mincemeat fans, we are excited.
One of our friends is seeing Mincemeat soon, and I'm so excited to hear her thoughts. No,
I'm actually kind of worried she's gonna really like it.
If she likes it, then I'm like respect, I guess, like because I respect her
like,
opinions.
Like it in the way of she comes back and she's like, "Why the fuck don't you like this?"
No, I feel like I could like explain it to her enough to make her understand it.
Dude, he's really screaming.
I cannot hear him scream. Yeah, Boop. I don't know how to feel about it. It got good because it did its tryout this time last year.
Yeah, this is the thing. I feel like Boop has been around for like 5 years now.
Yeah, because they wasted a year between like tryout and coming to Broadway.
Yeah, it's just because I think they've always been pretty active on specifically Twitter because that's where I am.
Yeah,
like I feel like I always see Boop tweeting, and I'm always like, damn. It's like 8 months until you open.
Like when the marquee went up, I went, "Oh yeah, it's Boop time, I guess."
Like they did like happy opening to like Sunset Boulevard.
Yeah.
Don't you open next year?
It's October. You guys open in like March.
You're in like 6 months.
It's the Mincemeat marquee is going to go up like next week.
Do you know what I think? You know how every time we walk past the theatre?
Oh, I heard something then.
Okay, good.
I don't know how you're going to fall asleep with all the screaming.
I'm so tired. I might just scream back in.
Honestly. I can scream too!
We can all be loud. Okay, every time we walk past the Fortune Theatre, you'll remember there used to be a 6 foot tall little like board.
Yeah.
I think they've taken it to America.
What? They've individually carried it onto a plane?
Yes, I truly believe they have.
My mom at the airport being like...
Because when was the last time? We've been to Covent Garden a lot.
We go looking for it, believe us.
When was the last time you saw that board?
Summer.
I could see it maybe being a summer thing based on the weather. I'm fully willing to admit it might have been a summer thing because the weather was nice. And they're like, the second it's like September, it's going to start raining. So
I can see them having two and bringing one to Broadway.
I know.
But again, we don't want Mincemeat to fail on Broadway. If it makes $1 million every week, I will be going, long live the British, Royal Britannia. You know? It's a bit like the Robbie Williams thing. Like, I don't care about Robbie Williams. The second an American starts talking about Robbie Williams, best man. Angels is the greatest song I've ever heard.
I've listened to Better Man. Oh my god. Can you kick it? Yes,
yeah,
you can.
They also don't know about Gary Barlow's massive.
Like, what's the point?
Do you guys not have fun and love and light in your hearts? Gary Barlow's...
Ironically, my housemate who moved to America is back for a little bit. I like hearing him talk about America. Oh my god, it's awful over there.
Well, yeah, they just voted in Trump for a second time.
I know, and he was there for it.
Starlight Express have launched a lottery. It's called the Locomotive Lottery.
I will be entering.
Should we enter that the weekend we're back for Hadestown?
Yeah. What was it Moulin Rouge.
Moulin Rouge. We need, but only on the Friday because we have to go drunk and we can't be hungover for Hadestown.
I reckon Moulin Rouge might sober us up.
We can't be. Sorry, I just got the message.
I also think if we get day drunk, so we're like, because as funny as it would be to see Moulin Rouge drunk,
I saw Sister Act so drunk.
I think seeing Moulin Rouge as we're sobering up is like 100 times funnier.
And like
like we start drinking at like 10 a.m. We cut ourselves off at like 6.
My mum was like in my room as I was packing. There was a family meeting going on about whether or not to get the new dog. I was in charge of the music, so I made them all listen to Natasha Pierre and the Great Court of 1812. And my mum looked over and went, "There's a bottle of vodka there," and I went, "Yes, it's mine and Nell's joint ownership vodka. Don't touch it."
Joint ownership. You paid me £5 for it, and I spent £20.
I thought it was £17 in total.
It was £17.99.
Okay. No, I was like, don't touch it. It's mine and Nell's.
That's for Moulin Rouge.
It's for when we go see Moulin Rouge. Or Starlight Express. Rock on. English gives away free tickets via Duolingo, and then they have to cancel it at I don't think last minute, because they gave away too many. The promotion was running like all day.
I think it was also people started like sharing the codes around, so it wasn't just the people who saw it.
It was like on Duolingo.
Yeah.
Like, we could have got free tickets to a Broadway show even though we have no need.
Yeah. I think cancelling all of them is a little
I don't think they cancelled all of them. They just cancelled the majority. Did. I've seen like 2 people be like, mine haven't been cancelled.
Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah. New Persephone casting.
Huh?
New Persephone casting for Broadway. I don't know who this woman is. Give me some. Meryl.
I feel like I do know her.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm Googling. Is TV shows. She's on Station 19. Okay.
Oh my god, I do know her from Station 19. I'm gonna see what else was she in.
She was in the revival of Once on This Island. Well, that was the other thing. Fun. Good for her. It was just funny. I saw like 2 people who got to keep their tickets. Next up, a point that have made some people in the TikTok the TikTok comments, they were getting annoyed at me. They didn't care. I was like, is it because the Romeo and Juliet stage door is still fucking wild. Someone threw a keychain at Kit Connor. Kit Connor, you are a better man than I. Because why the fuck are you still stage dooring? And I was like on TikTok, maybe it's time to stop the stage door altogether because people just don't know how to act. And everyone in my comments was like, no, just some people need to change their behaviour. I'm not stopping stage dooring. And I was like, it's the call coming from inside the house here, loves. I'm not saying you have to agree with me, okay? But objectively, people getting shit thrown at them is bad.
I think it's basically either you don't shut down the stage door because you go with the argument of, oh, it's a small group of people, like, it'll be fine. And then something bad happens. Unfortunately, you just shut it down until people learn.
It's like 6 already had to stop stage dooring on tour.
Yeah.
Because that stage door got so bad. It's not like these incidents don't happen in the UK. Do you remember when Melanie Barry was like, people keep grabbing me as I'm trying to leave?
Yeah.
Like, this stuff is happening, and it just keeps happening. Fun times. Okay, so Oliver is a musical with music, book, and lyrics by Lionel Bart. Oliver is based on a little-known book by Charles Dickens. I don't know if you've heard of him. Obviously, I'm joking. It was published serially under a pseudonym called Boz from 1837 to 8. It was published in 3 volumes. The novel was the first of the author's works to realistically depict the impoverished London underworld and illustrate his belief that poverty leads to more crime. Dickens would begin writing Oliver Twist and the adaptation of the Poor Law in 1834, which halted government payments to able-bodied poor access unless they entered workhouses. Thus, Oliver Twist became a vehicle for social criticism aimed directly at the problem of poverty in 19th century London. It cannot be overstated how, actually, this sounds dramatic, but trust me, I do kind of know what I'm on about when it comes to the Poor Law. Like, I know what I'm on about here. It cannot be overstated how important the poor law is to, like, British history, but also how important Dickens' portrayal of the poor law is just in general. Like, I've had full-on classes about the poor law, and we talk about Dickens. It's kind of his thing, Dickens, just talking about the poor law all the time.
He fucking loved poverty.
He was obsessed with poverty. It's like
ignorance and want.
Ignorance and want. The Tale of Two Cities. Cannot be overstated how, like, deeply ingrained Charles Dickens's work, specifically Oliver, specifically his work on the poor law, how ingrained the poor law is into our society, yada yada yada. I've read entire essays on the poor law. Like, it's crazy. It was very popular when it was first released, partly because of its scandalous subject matter. It depicted crime and murder without holding back, causing it in Victorian London to be classed as a Newgate novel. Newgate was a famous, what do we call it?
Workhouse?
No, prison.
Ah, did you forget the word prison?
Yes, because I was too busy thinking about workhouses and how there were workhouses, like, near us.
Yes.
Because they
turn it into, like, council housing.
To this day, Oliver Twist is enjoyed by many for its historical social commentary and its exciting plotline. We read Oliver Twist in year 7. We all had to read it, right? It wasn't just my English teacher going off on one.
What?
We all had to read Oliver Twist in year 7,
I
right?
did not read Oliver Twist in year 7.
Okay, so it's just my English teacher on one.
To be fair, I don't remember what I read in year 7 because I was 11 years old.
So Lionel Bart was the 7th child of East End Austrian Jews. His father was a master tailor. He had studied at St. Martin's School of Art, where he was the model for quilting crafts and would enter the parenting trade after national service. Noel Coward would comment on Lionel Bart, saying that he would rather spend 5 minutes in an ale bar chatting with Lionel Bart than years catching crews with the Oxford Debating Society. His cultural context wasn't other musicals or Western reviews, but Joanna Littlewood's theatre workshop in the East End and the first strings of British rock and roll. We were just talking about the birthplace of British rock and roll. He played the washboard in the skiffle band with Tommy Steele, for whom he wrote some of the first songs. This was really interesting about Lionel Bart. He was not able to read, write, or play music. He always said he couldn't tell the difference between a flat and a council flat. Lionel Bart was a complete natural nonetheless. He sung a tune and lyrics into a tape recorder. He mined the entire self-submerged territory of music hall and parlour songs and Cockney anthems, and filtered them through an idiosyncratic gift of rhythm and phrase-making and song construction. He didn't have to discover political commenting coming from his background. He caught the first post-war wave of celebrity culture and enjoyed every fleeting second of his fame. Lionel Bart sounded like a really interesting guy. Like, everyone describes him as, like, the most joyous guy, had no idea what was going on and was just kind of there for the ride. Normally, when you think about, like, musical theatre composers, you think of them as, like, being very studied and very deliberate, whereas Lionel Bart wrote one of the most recognisable musicals just kind of accidentally.
Just kind of like for fun.
Like, he was, with them saying he was definitely the new kid on the block. 12 managements turned down the idea of Oliver, saying it was too impractical and too morbid. Apparently, producer Donald Albury took up the option on the strength of a few tape-recorded songs and staged it for £15,000. That's crazy. The director was Peter Coe, and the set designer was Sean Kenny, whose labyrinth, timid setting cunningly lit the blues and ambers of the and was a wonder of the West End. In rehearsal during their tryout in Wimbledon, Bart composed frantically, adding 6 original songs for Barry Humphries as So Barry came up with That's Your Funeral. Writing music for the visible scene changes, Kenny convinced Bart that the show would flow without actors or scenery ever coming to a stop. With banishing trucks and painted canvas standing flats of the pseudo-marbled wallpaper, Kenny was effecting a design revolution that would give way for the newly formed RSC and eventually son of Olivier design style by John Napier for caps and Les Mis. The 2 numbers, Consider Yourself and As Long As He Needs Me, were released before opening, because this was back in the days of British musical theatre, them being, like, basically treating it like it was its own music product. So Consider Yourself would peak at number 50 on the charts, and As Long As He Needs Me would peak at number 2, and would stay there for 5 weeks, spending a total of 30 weeks in the top 100. It was expected to close early. In Wimbledon, the previews were so poor that it could barely afford to get into town. It had to be rewritten days before opening. The director Peter Coe got sick and got through 5 choreographers, and they didn't have any money for costumes. According to Cameron Mackintosh, the classic Nancy red dress was a happy accident. They went, she'll look good in that. I just carried on with their life. It would open at the new theatre, now called the Noel Coward, on the 30th of June 1960. And basically, I couldn't find any good reviews because it was the 1960s and this stuff has not been digitalized properly. The Guardian put out one basically summary of it in 2003, and this is where it's from. When talking about Fagin in the reviews, they would say slippery, according to the Evening Standard, begging, eye-rolling, and lip-licking, the Evening News, exemplary, like Ivan the Terrible in a ginger wig, the Observer, a dustpan Boris Brodanov, and a kitchen sink Rumpelstiltskin by the Daily Mail. I love the line, kitchen sink Rumpelstiltskin.
Incredible.
Pretty good. Only the Guardian's Philip Hope Wallace was disappointed. He thought that Bart had softened the role into a queer old auntie. I don't know how that would be how I talk about Fagin, personally.
I think when you talk... Oh, we'll definitely talk about it. When you talk about Fagin, it is just kind of... It's very anti-Semitic.
We're going to talk about him because Jonathan Price enters the chat. I hate talking about Jonathan Price. I'm sure he's a lovely guy. He's just another one who's always at the scene of the crime.
Yeah.
For Hope Wallace, the whole musical was embedded with an atmosphere of London Christmas matinee, and he allowed it to a certain gutter Charos balm. He felt overall a stivering musical of the workhouse. Bart purely shed away from the novel's dark side for a reason. Dickens' public readings had so rambunctiously that women fainted at the tale of Bill Sikes murdering Nancy. Fun fact, I forgot that Bill Sikes murders Nancy until like last year, and I was talking about Oliver Overfront, and he went, yeah, and then like obviously Nancy gets murdered, and I went, Nancy gets murdered? So Esme, I thought you knew this, and I was like, I did, I just really forgot it, like deep within my brain. Justice for Nancy, guys. I know it's been like 200 years, but justice for Nancy. Bart Bill played Danny Sowell, who had a colourful career working in Paris nightclub and a South American emerald mine as a professional boxer. People could live 10 million lives back in the day. We need to stop penning people in and let them live their goddamn lives, okay? His Nancy was Georgina Brown, who wrote Milton Solomon of the Evening Standard, possesses a rare feminine feist quality of abandon as she threw about herself at the stage with gusto. Solomon praised Bart's zestful, unabashed blending of Tin Pan Alley, Yiddish folk melodies, and rhythms of Old Kent Road. Not only to buttonhole you, they particularly shock you. The Daily Mail's critic thought that the music was a veracity of Cockney Orphan Branch and a graceful simplicity of early Rogers. Both were impressed by the sweet-looking singing Cherubutic, 13-year-old Keith Hampshire, who played the title role. All critics agree that the set and architect turned designer Sean Kenny was perfect for what the Tatler described as a roaring castle gym or melodrama. But perhaps the person who was most important to Oliver was one and only Cameron Mackintosh. This was his origin story.
The man, the myth, the legend.
Yes. I genuinely think, gun to his head, Cameron, you can only save one musical. He saves Oliver.
Yeah.
I think, what's the second? Possibly Miss Saigon, because of how many headaches it's given him. Like, he's come too far with the piece for him not to save it. I personally think Phantom's quite low down there. If it goes any higher, it's only because it's made him so much money.
I feel like it's a thing of like, I think someone else would save it.
Andy would save it.
Yeah.
Like, it's Andy's thing, really. Also, you know Cameron Mackintosh isn't even 80 yet.
That's crazy.
He's like
and many
79.
more years to him.
Because the thing with Cameron and Andy is that they started working so incredibly early that they've been able to do just so much stuff. Anyway, so Cameron Mackintosh would see it at the age of 13, saying, Mackintosh first laid eyes on it as a theatre-mad 13-year-old, queuing hours for a gallery seat, and saw it and held it as something different. People don't realise the impact that it has when it opened, he says. Oliver was revolutionary. It owed nothing to Broadway, and it was entirely British in nature. Mackintosh likens Oliver to Don't Look Back in Anger, the Oasis song, in terms of its influence, and takes no genius to see how the British love affair with a child-centered narrative has got a lasting flip. Witness, Billy Elliot, The Boy in the Magic Dress, and you could even cite Blood Brothers too, as embedded...
Love Blood Brothers!
...and indebted to its tight interrogation of a story about class with music and lyrics. That is true. We do love to put a child on stage and sing about class.
Yeah.
On becoming a producer, Mackintosh would join the national tour of the show soon after leaving drama school. It would start a long love affair with Oliver the musical. Can't keep those two away from each other. David Merrick, known shithead, I have written down. If you're ever bored, look at a list of David Merrick's marriages. He married the same woman like 3 times. Also, he had a show that he knew was going to get bad reviews, but he didn't want it to close at a financial loss. So shall I tell you what he did?
What?
He invited people to come and see the show that had the same names as the big New York reviewers. And then when they liked it, he printed their quotes like it was the actual person.
Okay, that's kind of smart.
He said he had the stunt planned for years. He just could never find someone the same name as Brooks Atkinson. So he had to wait until he retired. David Merrick, everybody. If you're ever bored, go down a David Merrick rabbit hole. He's a fascinating man. Would bring Oliver to the Broadway stage. The New York Times would say about it, there is a deep chasm between the musical Oliver and Charles Dickens' novel Oliver Twist, as is wide the distance between the 19th century novelist genius burning with class consciousness and a musical greeted to modern show business. Lionel Bart, author of the book and song of the musical, is hardly deferred the official opening at the Imperial Sunday night. Yeah, it also had to be pushed back. David Merrick was like kind of a bad producer. He just had a lot of money. He was like constantly like pushing shows back, completely cancelling them, being like an overlord over it. Nell is speaking. She's just naming famous alumni of Chelsea schools. And a telescope of leisurely novel bursting with character, atmosphere, and incidents. But one may well ask whether Fagin, counting and gloating over his misery hoarding, should engage as a competent low comedian, and one wonders whether his audacious diggings were his teachings of unfortunate prodigies that you've got to pick a pocket or two, avoiding the angry disruption that erupts out in scorched times, whether someone puts Fagin into a theatre or Mr. Bart somewhere identified him as Dickens did as the Jew, the old scoundrel who speaks like a cockney, so much for Bart's tact. By coincidence, however, Fagin has a big number in the second act set to the music that bears close resemblance to Jewish folk song. Reviewing the situation, he ponders the possibilities left open to him as his retribution draws near, and a lush violin oblagio seems to stress radical stains that the author never merely meant to suggest, but it too oftenly settles for stridency, smoke-easy laugh, and the fancy of show business and razzmatazz. They've just announced a new Hermes as well.
Who is it?
The original donkey from Shrek.
That's incredible.
Yeah. He's a Juilliard-trained actor. And he's
the original donkey. Yeah. That's what he's most well known for.
Yeah, like on his Wikipedia page, he is most known.
Queen Camilla.
Other fun fact from Patti LuPone's memoir. The Juilliard School, because she went the first year, they had their school right opposite the Chinese embassy. Like, they faced each other. So they would just be like these drama kids, like doing their weird drama exercises, Jesus. And a bunch of like Maoists in the Chinese embassy staring them down. It's a funny.
I'm going to look at Richmond.
Oh, so much.
So far, nothing.
It would be nominated for at the Tony. So the reason why I didn't mention the Oliviers when I talked about Oliver is because the Oliviers didn't exist yet. The Oliviers come about at some point in like the 70s. The Oliviers are really weird, and I wish that they would just standardize them a bit more. And it actually like is about to drive me up a wall, you know. A nice little list about what's eligible and what the categories are. Because are they going to have a score category this year?
Hopefully.
Probably not. It'd be nominated for Best Musical, Best Performance by a Leading Actress in a Musical, Best Performance by a Featured Actress in a Musical, Best Author of a Musical, Best Original Score, Best Producer of a Musical, Best Direction, Best Conductor and Best Musical Director, and Best Scenic Design. Other fun fact about the Broadway run of Oliver, they would perform on the Ed Sullivan Show. Now you might be thinking, why does the Ed Sullivan Show sound familiar? It is the show that the Beatles broke America on, you know?
I remember.
They were on the same episode. Oliver the Musical performed on the exact same episode as the Beatles did.
That's incredible, actually. When worlds collide.
That is like one of my favorite pieces of pop culture history now. It would run for 774 performances, which is a lot of performances for the time. Like, it seems like an okay run at the moment, but no, that's like a big Broadway hit. At the time, it was the longest running British show of all time. They would adapt Oliver to film, with it winning 6 Academy Awards, including Best Picture. I remember watching this again in English class in Year 7.
Yeah.
Good times. In 1977, Cameron Mackintosh would get his dirty little paws on Oliver finally. He would open a revival, which would run for 3 years. It was just a remounting of the original version, with it playing until 1976 at the same venue. So then it would return again to the West End. Theme here. I'm just going to start calling out Oliver revivals, because Cameron Mackintosh cannot let it go 10 years without an Oliver revival.
I always kind of forget how many there are.
I was like, there cannot be another one of this. And then there is. And you're like, Jesus fucking Christ. Let it go.
I just kind of forgot that for years it was just always fucking on.
Because I do remember thinking when, like, last year it was announced that the big production was happening in Chichester, and they were probably going to bring it to the West End. I remember thinking, didn't we just have a revival, like, 5 or 10 years ago? Like, that seems pretty short. And then I looked at the Wikipedia page and I went, no, it's about time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it'd be brought back to the West End in 1983, running for only 5 weeks over the Christmas period at the Aldridge Theatre. However, this would be the production that they take back to Broadway at the Mark Hanginger Theatre in 1984. It would star Patti LuPone as Nancy!
My
Love
queen.
You, Patti. Love you. Look at her website before this. There would be equity issues, because of course they would be. It was a British musical in the 80s. Anyway, Frank Rich would say about Oliver, the revival starring Patti LuPone, crowded retelling of Oliver Twist seems old-fashioned. Its tuneful operetta distinctly the passing years have not been kind. In this new revival at the Mark Hellinger, the show is likely to be told the attention of the youngest and most obedient children. Oliver is not unpleasant, just dull. Indeed, the first 40-odd minutes of the current production is much affected by the rigor and sniffs of the Undertaker's Emporium, where the orphan hero Bear briefly works. The evening gathers some steam once the 2 savvy stars, Rob Moody and Patti LuPone, make belated entrances. But even then, Oliver never becomes rousing, only sustained by an outpouring of joy occurs in the full cast medley song of the curtain call. At the critics' preview, the audience's biggest hand was awarded to the villain Bill Sykes' dog. Understand why Oliver fails, one doesn't need to compare the musical to its source. It is true that Mr. Bart reduces the Dickens novel to an inanimate cartoon parallels, one where almost can see the dialogue balloons above the immobile players' heads, but that doesn't matter if the show has genuine musical comedy punch or spontaneity. But now, before Oliver has little style of dancing and a very few broad jokes, Mr. Bart's songs are tossed randomly to his indistinct books, like raisins in Christmas pudding. As a result of that, even the skimpy remnants of Dickens' surefire plot seem to use their propulsive force. It seems to be missing in Oliver. One can only recall Broadway's Annie, another cartoon about an orphan who was resurrected by a rich benefactor. But that one is built like a clock and wrapped in razzle-dazzle.
Eventually.
It would only last 17 performances. Time to talk about the 90s production of Oliver, God help. So in the 90s, 1981, a burgeoning small-scale version by the National Youth Music Theatre in 1991 suggested that the time might be right for another approach. But instead of taking a fresh look at a close-up mechanics of and emotional content of the piece, Mackintosh decided to do it at the large Palladium, keeping the spectacular elements of Anthony Ward's design did not really earn their keep, and a lot of the songs seemed swamped. Mackintosh and Sam Mendes, who would direct it. Sam Mendes, early career Sam Mendes, you know, the guy who did the cabaret that everyone cannot stop talking about.
Yeah.
Him. Now I think he does plays. Mendes. He's like, I'm done with musicals. You guys annoy me too much. He was also the first creative director of the Donmar.
Okay.
Love you, Donmar.
Love the Donmar.
One of my favorite places ever. I'm not just saying that because Natasha Pierre and the Great Comet happened there.
Esme genuinely loves the Donmar.
Who else is going to do my weird niche musicals? I was thinking, what could they do? What else could the Donmar do that I would, lose my shit over?
Cut.
I think...
What else have we thought we'll never get a chance to see?
I could see them doing Piazza. I know it's been done in the UK before, but do Piazza. Bear would be very good at the Donmar. Better place for it in London compared to the Palladium.
Yeah, honestly. Kind of anywhere was better than the Palladium.
Spring Awakening at the Donmar.
Ooh, that'd be fun. Hold on, let me look up a list.
Hit me up.
I know we kind of just had it, but
yeah.
Emily.
What? Sorry? Carver.
Emily at the Donmar could be fun.
If it wasn't already done, then I'd be like, yes.
Rent at the Donmar could be fun.
I think if anyone can get Rent to work with a British audience, it might have to be the Donmar.
It might have to be
the Donmar.
Tick Tick Boom at the Donmar, that'd be very good.
The past 3 musicals have been Natasha Pierre, The Great Comet of 1812, Next to Normal, and then it was The Band's Visit before that.
Yeah, I was gonna say one, and then I was like, no, I'm just saying that because I want to go see the show. I don't actually think it would work at the Donmar. It was gonna be Anastasia, and I was just like, no.
You just want to see Anastasia.
Work. I just want to see Anastasia. Fun Home at the Donmar.
Oh my god, Fun Home at the Donmar.
That would be good.
That would be
Donmar. Get Fun Home. Get Fun Home.
I know it was done in London semi-recently, but you guys need it. You need,
do it at the Donmar.
Do it at the fucking Donmar. So they would cast 2 RSC Macbeths, Jonathan Pryce and Miles Addison as Fagin and Sykes. Pryce was a dark, maleficent Fagin, but he missed deliberately, in quotations. A lot of this information comes from probably the wildest independent article I've ever read in my whole entire life. One in which they spend a lot of time talking about how Jodie Pranlinger, who played Nancy in the 2000s revival, was fat.
Wow.
They could not bring up Jodie Pranlinger without being like, she's fat. And I was like, yeah, you can tell this was written in 2008. So they said he missed what? So Jonathan Pryce was a dark, maleficent Fagin, but he missed, in quotes, in brackets, deliberately, the Jewishness and glee. Still, what do critics know? The production ran for 3 years, grossing more than 40 million at the box office and travelled the world. Jonathan Pryce was followed in his beard and gabardine by Jim Hale, Robert Lindsay, Barry Humphries, and Russ Abbott. This is the version that lives in the cultural memory of especially the UK of Oliver today.
Yeah.
If we're thinking about Oliver, we're thinking about either this production or the TV show we're about to talk about. During this time, so let's catch up with our friend Lionel Bart, shall we? Let's see what he's been doing. Let's catch up with what Roger Bart has been doing in the years between. Lionel Bart would have a very long string, would have a string of flops, would become an alcoholic and lose the millions that Oliver had made him. In the process, he would sell off all of the rights of Oliver, with Cameron Mackintosh owning most of the rights, but gave him a small profit from a short piece of music that he'd written for a revival, with Mackintosh saying, Lionel is the least bitter man I've ever come across. He has regrets, but considering that everyone else has made millions out of his creation, he's never been sour, he's never been vindictive. At the time of his death, he'd be living in a barbershop in Acton during the run of this revival.
My king.
There was a bench for him in Kew Gardens.
That tracks.
Yep. This revival would be nominated for Best Revival of a Musical, Best Director, Best Actor for Jonathan Pryce, Best Actress for Sally Dexter, and Best Actor for Robert Lindsay. 2 years later, because technically you can submit yourself 4 Olivier Awards if you've replaced it in a show, which is kind of a bit crazy. So let's talk about Andrew Lloyd Webber's reality TV shows in the early 2000s.
Oh, my king.
I Do Anything was the one for Oliver. Andy was the head judge, even though not his show.
He had a throne and everything.
He sat on that throne. I bet you that's in one of his houses.
Almost definitely.
Like, he already owned the throne. So, notable contestants include Rachel Tucker, Samantha Barks, Jessie Buckley. They were the losers of this show.
Jesus.
So the winners, well, the runner-up would be Tamsin Carroll, who would play it like twice a week, who's the alternate, and then Jodie Pratlinger would win. Again, the Independent need to apologise to Jodie Pratlinger originally for that article in the 80s, not 80s, 2008 or whatever. So I actually didn't know this, because you know how you'd vote like on the landline for this show?
It would cost money.
And it would cost money. The money would go back to the arts funds.
I mean, you have to give it to him.
He does really care about raising money for the arts. It would play Theatre Royal Drury Lane, closing in 2011 to make way for Shrek the Musical.
Icon.
Okay, so there were talks of making a new Oliver with Stephen Daldry directing, with a 2016 release. Nothing has happened. Samantha Barks was apparently tipped to play Nancy in that one. Do it on Broadway, because they were like, let's bring Oliver back to Broadway, which I say, please never do that, actually. I actually don't want you to do that, ever. Here's synopsis time.
Oh my god. Oliver is a young orphan living in Victorian England. After escaping a workhouse and an abusive apprenticeship, he finds himself amongst a group of petty thieves and pickpockets, and so begin Oliver's whirlwind adventures and his search to find the true love of a family. Lionel Bart's Tony and Olivier Award-winning musical interpretation of Charles Dickens' classic novel has been regarded as a masterpiece among audiences for 7 decades. This guy, whoever wrote this, loves run-on sentences.
They do. Where do I want to start with Oliver?
I have always thought of it, more than anything else, as a, school play.
Yes, it is actually factually one of the most done shows in the UK.
We have done it.
I wasn't.
I wasn't either.
Yeah.
So actually, we haven't done it.
We haven't done it. My sister's done it.
George Michael. Holy shit.
You have got to get off that Wikipedia.
No, I'm so interested. I'm in Brent now.
Jesus Christ!
We're at the Kingsbury.
Right, okay, Oliver time.
Suella Braverman! Okay, now. I didn't even go there, she was just on the staff.
Okay, Oliver.
Hold on, once I'm done with Brent, I'll stop. I'll lock back in. I just really want to know if anyone more interesting. No.
Unironically, I do sometimes think I talk like Nancy.
Yeah, you kind of do. Quick. Love Oliver.
I really love parts of Oliver. I forced myself to listen to all of it this week in preparation for this, and I came to the realization, this is personally, I don't really care about the kids.
Yeah.
I agree with the reviews basically saying Nancy, Fagin, and Bill are the most interesting parts of this piece.
Yeah.
You Can't Look Me in the Eye and Tell Me As Long As He Needs Me isn't an outstanding song.
What a song.
From start to finish, it doesn't.
Oh, yes.
I really enjoyed.
I'm going to get out the Oliver soundtrack, hold on.
Okay, what I've really enjoyed on my re-listen this week. Who Will Buy?
I was gonna say.
Who Will Buy?
A song.
Is haunting, and I kind of hate the way that they had it arranged in the piece production, and I was trying to work out whether or not it was just incredibly easy or that was just the way it was arranged, because they almost go into a big show number halfway through, and it's and then they return back to that, the very soft "Who Will Buy My Sweet Rain Roses" at the end, and it's okay, you guys have just done basically a kick line.
It's musical theatre at its best. I think obviously Consider Yourself, banging song. I think part of that might be nostalgia.
Here's the thing, I don't think people who aren't British really understand how embedded Oliver is as a property into British culture.
Yeah. Do you know what? This might be a rogue pick.
Say it.
Where Is Love?
That is a good song.
It's a very sweet song.
That's a good song.
I just think it's that kind of thing of I'll never be able to hate Oliver.
No.
It's got too many bangers.
Yeah. Any musical that has As Long As He Needs Me in it is always going to get a 10 out of 10 for me.
Yeah.
What's the other Nancy song that I enjoy? It's Papa. There's a little ditty she's singing in the city. Yeah, that one's good. And As Long As He Needs Me reprise.
Yeah.
Oh, breaks my heart every time.
Yeah. It's classic. It's good.
I mean,
we should talk about Fagin.
Yeah, I was literally about to say Fagin. So
we should bring up Fagin.
It's important to note that Lionel Bart was Jewish.
Yeah.
However, he used some of his millions to have a nose job to make himself look less Jewish. That's always the assumption. I don't know him.
Yeah.
So I can't really speak on it. Just what I've read in the press.
Yeah.
But Charles Dickens, known anti-Semite.
Yeah. I think it's one of those things where there's a part of me that wants to be like, well, it was, the Victorian era, I would challenge you to find me someone from the Victorian era that wasn't a known anti-Semite.
Or wasn't a known bigot in some way.
Yeah.
Like a famous person.
Yeah. Like, that's not to say like, let's look past it.
It's made like my thing with Dickens is that it's made it into his work so notably to the point where all these centuries later where people are doing a variation of Fagin, it is notable when someone is not.
Yeah. I think he's such an iconic character, which is why I think whenever, no matter the production, you never see anyone trying to like change Fagin.
Yeah.
Like no one's ever been like, hey, maybe we should step away from the anti-Semitic stereotypes here.
Yeah.
Maybe we should do something else.
Yeah.
Considering what we know.
Yeah.
It's always been like, but it's Fagin.
You can't go changing Oliver. That's like changing the Bible.
We can't make him not a greedy Jew. What would happen?
I don't know what the current revival is doing, because it is a new production, this revival.
Shall I look up pictures?
It's not open.
I feel like I have seen pictures.
I've definitely seen photos because they did this out of town tryout in Chichester.
Oliver Revival London. Oliver the Musical. Show me a picture. Right, they've got a video.
Okay.
I'll tell you if I see someone who I reckon might be Fagin.
Okay.
The kids look very sickly, so shout out to them.
Well, they are literally like when everyone's like, I'm showing a Victorian schoolboy something. That is who they're thinking of. They're thinking of the extras in Oliver. Yeah. What have you found? What have you found?
Well, I found Fagin. I can tell you that. Right now, I can tell you I have found Fagin.
We're not trying to cancel Oliver. I'd like this to be very known.
No. I feel like the ship for cancelling Oliver has sailed.
That should have happened. If that was going to happen, it would have happened by now.
Every single possible critique of Oliver
has already been made.
Is known. We know it. We know what's wrong with it. We know what in an ideal world would be changed.
What are you aiming at?
Fagin.
Fagin.
Can I share my screen?
Yeah. Wait, I have to allow you to share. Oh.
I'll show you from when he turns up. So that's Fagin.
That's definitely Fagin.
Now, and I really hope this comes across in the least like anti-Semitic way possible. My first thought isn't Jew.
No.
It looks more like traveller, like Roma.
Yes.
Which I'm not sure is any better. But
hey, it's a different interpretation. Yeah, especially the earrings.
Yeah. It does look like a sick production, I will say.
I love you, Matthew Bourne.
It is very like...
Look at Nancy just having the best time. R.I.P. love, I miss you every day.
What a song.
You can hear this, I can't.
It's Consider Yourself.
Consider Yourself. The new productions recording comes out tomorrow.
Ooh.
I'm excited to listen to it, because when I was listening to it, I just kept thinking, holy fucking shit, this is the most 90s things I've ever heard in my whole entire life.
Yeah.
Like, are we still recording? Yes.
I hope so.
Sorry, I just had a flashback from last week.
I think, okay, having seen that for the revival, I think was wrong. You can change Fagin. like what he looks like. Because that did not look like the traditional Fagin.
No.
But he came on screen and I was like,
that's Fagin.
I know which character. That's not Bill Sikes.
Bill Sikes is the stuff of nightmares, though. Like little kids' nightmares.
Maybe that's kind of the thing, is that Fagin is such a, like, eccentric character, just in general.
Yes.
But when you get down to it, as long as he just looks a little bit odd.
Quirky.
Because
that's what the New York Times basically called. No, one of the original reviews is like, Fagin's quirky in this version.
Yeah.
And I think quirky is a better take than just full-on anti-Semitism.
Yeah. I think, obviously, you know, it's important to acknowledge what the roots of the character are.
Always.
My poster just fell down.
Oh, which one?
I've just forgotten what was up there. Oh, it was my Studio Ghibli one. Makes sense. It has been up there a while. I'll stick it back up in a second. No, it fell down completely. That's fine. Yeah. I think it's kind of hard to talk about Oliver besides just being like, good show. It's good for kids.
It's good for kids.
It is anti-Semitic as hell. And really dark.
It is so dark. It is so dark for a story that we tell kids, like, from a very young age.
It is, again, you know, we love a little bit of class conflict.
My God, America are finally experiencing a bit of class conflict for the first time ever, and I don't think they know what to do with themselves. Whereas we're like, guys, you don't? Because I think that's the thing that I think a lot of international audiences don't understand about Britain, is we're kind of obsessed with class.
Yeah. It's like, I think, like, let's get into it.
Let's talk about the socioeconomic impacts of Oliver. When
you think about Oliver, you think about how the character
Please,
Oliver...
Sir, give me some more.
He's got a posh little British voice. It's, a little bit rough. He's dropping his T's and such.
Yeah.
But he's not got a Cockney accent, has he?
And then you get to the Artful Dodger.
Consider yourself.
Consider yourself.
Consider yourself. Out of the family. Whatever. You very, you know... Nancy?
Cockney accent. She's also like she's like dad. She's like, you know, the second she walks on stage, like, you're dying.
You're dying. You're dead. You're dead. I'm not getting attached. And yet you do anyways.
Yeah, she sings that song and you'll go, I understand you, Nancy. Yeah,
like,
so
it's such a good musical.
Oliver's salvation comes from the fact that he has a random rich family that no one knew about.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't come from finding community in these people or in these poor people. It comes from the fact that there's, like, someone there to take him in.
It's literally, he, like, grows up poor and then he goes out into the real poor world and he's like, whoa,
he gets kicked
awful.
out. He gets kicked out of the workhouses.
Suddenly, he gets sold.
Yeah.
He has a sign that says boy for sale. He gets sold to an abusive, like, apprenticeship.
Yeah.
Runs away from the apprenticeship. Gets taken in by a gang of, like, orphan beggars.
Feral children.
Who are pickpockets. Meets a lovely woman who takes care of him. She then dies in front of him.
Saving him.
Dying in front of him. And then he's like, whoa. Thank God I'm actually upper class. I'll be off.
God, I'm secretly rich. The thing... I don't know. Does Dickens like workhouses?
No.
I don't think he did. But he's, obsessed with them, which we've talked about before.
I think it was just kind of a big deal at the time.
Oh, they were a massive deal at the time, and they're still... I mean, there's this notion in social policy of the invisible workhouse that could be applied to some policies today, but that's a discussion for another time.
Yeah.
That's an academic level discussion.
Let me jot that down for my essay. Oh my God, my essay.
You're doing an invisible workhouse. No, because that is linked to disability intrinsically. A lot of disabled people find themselves in that position. But he's like, gangs of Oliver are almost too proud to go into workhouses.
Yeah, it seems to be, maybe it's just been a while since I've, like, analysed the plot of Oliver, and I don't think I'm going to do it now. I don't think I could recall enough of the actual plot of Oliver.
I did have to sit down the Wikipedia page, because I'm 90% sure I know what happens in Oliver. I need to triple check.
I could probably give you, like, I kind of did before when I was joking about him being rich. I could give you the main beats, but...
It is also, like, one of those old things where just, like, there's like a ton of random side plots that don't really mean anything.
It's just like off the top of my head, I really could not tell you what the like message is.
Don't be poor.
I feel like it's got to be that.
Leave your abusive ex-boyfriend.
Don't get killed.
Don't become a pickpocket.
Oliver Twist.
One day,
Wikipedia.
You might have a rich family out there.
It is.
You know, there was a sequel.
Okay, apparently it might be like satire.
Interesting.
I'm on the like actual Oliver Twist.
I have not read this book since I was like 11 years old, so.
Honestly, same. Major themes and symbols, alright. In Oliver Twist, Dickens mixes grim realism with merciless satire to describe the effects of industrialization on the 19th century England and to criticize the harsh new poor laws. Oliver, an innocent child, is trapped in a world where his only options seem to be the workhouse, a life of crime symbolized by Fagin's gang, a prison, or an early grave.
The early grave is like Nancy, because it's like him or her, and they're both heading for one.
Doesn't he like get in a coffin? Is that not a plot point that he gets in a coffin?
Yeah, probably. Sounds like something.
Isn't that the abusive apprenticeship? He gets in a coffin.
Yeah, he's like, I'm dying.
Yeah. From this unpromising industrial/institutional setting, however, fairy tale also emerges. In the midst of corruption and degradation, the essentially passive Oliver remains pure-hearted. He steers away from evil when those around him give in to it. When in proper fairy tale fashion, he eventually receives his reward, leaving for a peaceful life in the country surrounded by kind friends. Okay, I get plot now.
Well, even someone like the Artful Dodger doesn't have his happy ending. It's just kind of like he's going to live on the streets of London until he dies. Like, he's like an 11-year-old boy called the Artful Dodger.
Some of these characters. Do you want to read? Shall I read you their descriptions on the Wikipedia page? Yes. From the book, not for the musical. Oliver Twist. An orphan child whose mother died at his birth. I remember that plot point. Mr. Bumble. Beadle in the parish workhouse where Oliver was born. Mrs. Mann. Crazy name. Mrs. Mann, the self-centered and greedy superintendent where the infant Oliver is placed until age 9. Mr. Sowerberry, an undertaker who took Oliver as an apprentice.
That's how Mrs. Sowerberry.
Mr. Sowerberry, Mr. Sowerberry's wife. Noah Claypole, cowardly bully, Sowerberry's apprentice. Charlotte, the Sowerberry's maid, lover of Noah.
Yep.
These names are great.
You get why Ganfield. Like schools do it because there's so many fucking roles.
Yeah, Charlie Bates. This is if I go on the musical principal characters.
Because then you have like Bet and someone like that.
Bet, Nancy's best friend. She is sometimes depicted as her sister.
Yeah, because Bet's like a child.
Yeah, this is like it's really good because there are a lot of principal. And I'm putting that in quotation marks, characters. Because a lot of them are just like, oh, by the way, I was an old maid at your birth. Yeah. And I stole a locket from your mother. Yeah. This is a clue to your identity.
Yeah.
That's like a principal role, allegedly.
Well, there are so, like...
But then in that same vein, like, literally, you could have a school of, like, 100... You could have a cast of 100 kids, all just being, like...
I'm sure there have been casts of, like, 100 people doing Oliver. Probably somewhere in the world. That's definitely happened.
Yeah.
It's the same way I feel about Greece, where it's just like someone manufactured this for schools to do. And I know Greece kind of was manufactured for schools to do. Greece has a weird history. Look it up if you're bored.
You know what was manufactured for schools to do?
What?
Joseph.
Yes. Similar time period as well. Also, the thing about Lionel Bart, I was going to say Roger Bart, very different guys. Lionel Bart not being able to read or write music. So we just kind of sing it in. It gives it this really sing-songy feel. Like this massive
there's not like
feel.
A single forgettable melody.
Yeah.
There are melodies I don't remember because I have not listened to this musical in, my God, unironically 10 years.
10 years.
It was the school musical when we were in year 7, which was 10 years ago. I do remember who was in it. I won't say his full name. My king.
I was Oliver.
Yeah.
Classic.
In my form.
Yeah, I remember.
My claim to fame.
Claim to fame.
But yeah,
I
think with a lot of these musicals, I get to this point where I'm like, my God, I haven't listened to this in 10 years. And I'm like, I'm going to go listen to this afterwards. I'm not.
Yeah. I really want to listen to the new recording and see whether or not that's just how it's orchestrated or whether or not they amped it up because it was the 90s.
They probably amped it up because it was the 90s.
And I want to see whether or not they strip it back because this production seems, I hate to say it because it still looks insane and really large, but more realistic than other productions of Oliver have been.
I think it's stepping away from that kind of fantasy feel. I think the productions have done where they've had like, what's the word? Like the big like painted backdrops.
Yeah.
But it's like here's this painted backdrop of the workhouse, and here's one of the London skyline, and here's one of like a street. Where it's like, oh, this isn't real.
Well, it's also like that thing of Oliver in a lot of way almost giving way to the mega musical.
Yeah. This one seems very much like this. Here is a massive set piece that we will be climbing on, which I love. Love it.
Grotty urchin London, and we've stolen the Revolve from Les Mis.
We've stolen the like wireframes from Newsies.
Yeah, we just have them buildings over from Wembley. We've got the Revolve from next door at Les Mis. I'm guessing.
Guys, when is Newsies coming back?
That is such a deep question, actually. Speaking of feral children,
Newsies will return. When?
Bitch, when? When's that cast recording coming out? I've done my campaigning for Hades Town. Now I can go back to focusing on Newsies.
I just want the
Brooklyn too.
Female Brooklyn.
And then also once and for all the female harmonies. Now, give it to me. Now.
I want Michael Home and Lindsay's everything.
Santa Fe, you can bet. Guys, I miss Newsies.
Let them bastards
I miss Newsies at Wembley every single day. Like, I love Starlight Express, but if I had the choice between the two, I'd say I would go see Newsies right now.
To be fair, I think this is a thing of because we loved Newsies 2012.
Yeah, but like we're Newsies stans. We understand
ironically,
it.
Now that you've said it, we're not really stans for anything else, but Newsies. Yeah.
Newsies is like it's like a sleep paralysis like demon of like
I feel like a sleeper agent whenever it comes on.
Like whenever like I think about Newsies or like someone's talking about Newsies, I'm something like I feel really passionately about this. There's a lot of things in my life where I just keep hidden like how passionately I truly feel about it.
I could be like this, like about to fall asleep, completely out of it, and I'd hear, "Hey, that's my cigar. You'll steal another." It's bath time at the zoo.
And suddenly I'm like, it's Newsies time.
I thought that I'd surprise my mother. If you can find her.
Well, all I'm going to say is that the Bridge Theatre... the Bridge Theatre would possibly be the best next place. Up. They've got the Richard III with Jonathan Bailey going in there. But that's a limited run. This summer,
Jonathan Bailey could do Newsies. He could be Davey.
Jack? Yeah.
Davey.
He's definitely a Davey. I was about to say he's not Jack.
I would say we launched our strike in a most auspicious manner. I do think I might be able to quote all of Newsies.
Yeah, that's meant. You know, I still own Newsies. Huh? I realised this the other day because I was gonna watch The Office, and so I was on Amazon Prime. And I own every episode. My parents do. My dad does. I was every episode of The Office, and so I was scrolling through what else we owned. Every episode of Dance Moms. Every episode of Smash.
That. What?
Yeah, so if you ever want to watch Smash, hit me up. I have every episode. That's the only way you can watch it. In the UK. And then I saw Newsies and I was like, I vividly remember giving my dad cash for this in like 2017.
I bought it on Apple TV on my phone for like 10 quid and I still have it.
No, it cost a fair bit as well.
No, honestly. And the reason I bought it was because they put it on Netflix for free in the US.
In the US, but we didn't have it. Even my existence. You know, my sister watched it in drama class.
Bitch.
I know. She's like, I watched Newsies, it wasn't very good, and I was like, I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna disown you. What do you mean?
The world is yours.
Sorry, what do you mean?
Yeah, what?
Newsies isn't very good. With Jeremy Jordan and Cara Lindsay and Andrew.
With music by Alan Menken? Are you kidding me?
Are you deaf?
Are you dumb?
Are you blind? I swear there's a lyric like that. Newsies, I miss you, come home every single day of the week. Anyway.
I like Oliver. I think it's good.
It. I have a friend who rides really hard for it, like it's her favorite musical of all time. We were like, oh, we should go see a show, and I was like, oh, what will we go see? And she was like, Oliver, and I was like, it's selling exceptionally well. We are getting tickets for that. Do you know how expensive it is? Also, it's really funny.
I don't think I'd ever choose to go and see Oliver.
I will go see the new production, I think. I want to.
I think if I could, to be fair, I say it's about every show ever. We could get cheap enough tickets,
yeah.
But there's no part of me that's like, I have to go see Oliver.
I have a feeling it'll run for a couple of years. So I'm not in any rush.
I'm kind of pissed about it. Like, it's Oliver. We've seen it.
Let Cameron let it run for a couple of years, and then we don't have to see it for another 5 years, and then it'll come back. I'm guessing we walked past the Oliver Theatre since the facade has been up. So fucking funny, because they have an electronic billboard running between the Gielgud and the Sondheim where Les Mis is playing. Both Cameron Mackintosh productions, and they rotate between going Oliver, this theatre, Les Mis, this theatre, and they are both fundamentally very similar shows as well.
It's just, sad kid, a woman dies for love.
They all have Cockney accents.
A kid becomes rich.
Like, at the end of the day, they are both stories about class.
At the end of the day, you're another day older.
One of the greatest songs ever written. I'm not even joking, I was listening to it yesterday. Came on my shuffle after Oliver, and I was on Flora, so I couldn't fully change it.
We've told the One Day More story from West End Live.
Oh yeah, many times. Yeah, many times. Don't need to repeat it.
A really fun memory.
I was thinking about
Can you see, by the way, the fucking state of my chair right now?
I am deeply concerned about your chair. It's actually kind of stressing me out. One more thing about Oliver. No, it's so funny that it's playing next to Les Mis because it's literally inspired by Les Mis.
I know.
We just need to get something really good in the Apollo after Fawlty Towers moves out, and it's a great street for me.
Really good girl.
Natasha Perry, the Great Comet of 1812.
I was going to say, Comet could go in there.
If Comet goes in there, I will die on that street. Like, that is my favourite street.
You're doing a 3-show day. Or show.
But, like, all 4 of those shows are, like, shows that I will happily sit through any day of the week. Hadestown.
Just kind of, like, live there.
Chavkin Way.
Chavkin Way.
Even though it ain't the Chavkin
Look at Mormons. No, it's not that way.
No, Mormons is in, like, Trafalgar Square. Oh, yeah. We saw Love Never Dies. I've been really bored this week. I was reviewing my old tweets, and I found the tweet of how Scooter Braun's going to jail and I'm at Love Never Dies.
I think best nights for us in theatre.
First time we saw Hadestown.
First time we saw Hadestown as just a general good night.
That was just, like, a general, like, amazing night.
In terms of insanity,
Tuck
Day, Hadestown Stall.
Tuck Day's Hadestown Stalls. I have a feeling Hadestown OBC is going to be number 1.
What else has been fucking insane? Great Comet.
Obviously, Great Comet for so many reasons. Obviously, Scooter Braun's going to jail and I'm Love Never Dies Against My Will.
Yeah.
Android Webber being there. Mincemeat, when we saw Mincemeat and we accidentally saw the Barbie premiere at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like that's
Molly May didn't like us.
Molly May gave us a dirty look, even though we didn't realise it was Molly May.
Starkid in it was pretty good.
Starkid in it was unhinged.
No, not for you.
It was unhinged.
Newsies from the second row. That was a crazy day.
Oh my god, that was the craziest day of my life.
Newsies from the second row might be number 1.
Well,
in the grand scheme of things.
Important context. We were at Wembley. I'd just seen the Eras Tour poster for the first time in person, and 9/11 happened. Even Slater and Ariana Grande.
Newsies was closing in like 2 weeks. We were like, we have to go one more time.
We have to go again.
We were in
the room, and there was just like a ton of like 14-year-olds who discovered Newsies like 4 months ago.
I was like, no, you don't understand. Where were you when the Newsie got left behind at the gas station?
Name 5 Newsies, quick.
What do you know about Mike Feist?
What do you know about the early days of Mike's Feist career? I know we didn't go to the theatre that day, but Mike Feist on a bike.
That was a good day. What were we doing that day?
We were just in Camden.
Yeah. Then we walked back.
To Bond Street.
For some reason.
Nice walk, though. We saw a ton of oligarchs' houses.
Yeah, and Mike Feist.
And Mike Feist. Good days.
Was it Newsies the first time or Newsies the second time? Second time was Concord.
Second time was Newsies on the Run, but we were too busy talking about the Concord.
Newsies, the second time we saw Newsies might have been the best time we've ever been to the theatre.
Again, I think Hadestown ABC is going to give us a run for our money just on how insane we're going to be.
No, but the comedy of
the unintentional comedy that was birthed that night.
Getting to Wembley.
First off, whole ordeal
hours too
stuff,
early.
because we didn't know how long it was actually going to take us.
Sitting on Wembley Way.
Just kind of chilling.
And the news. No. I remembered this.
I remember the bench we were sat because I pointed it out to Martha when we were there, and that's where I found out Ethan Slater and Ariana Grande were dating.
Yeah. Esme screamed. Everyone looked at us. It was rough.
It was the right reaction to seeing TMZ reports Ariana Grande and Ethan Slater are dating.
What a time.
Stand by it.
When did we see Newsies the second time?
The day before we saw Barbie and Groundhog Day.
I was like, you lie.
And you got to try your Santa Fe Sour.
Which wasn't great. Okay.
I need a Starlight Spritz right now.
Just for reference, at like 12:30 on the day we went to go see Newsies, I was taking pictures of my cat. And then at like 7:05, we were in the theatre.
We were at Newsies. And everyone was being funny about the fact that Ariana Grande was dating Ethan Slater because the normies hadn't caught on.
Do you know what photo this is?
That's the Ethan Slater Tony Awards photo, isn't it? Yep. No, he's not at the Tony Awards. He's at the Outer Critics Awards.
Yeah. Being crazy.
I think you just, like, at interval, you just showed it to me.
I remember sending it to you when we were, like, on the train. Hold on, I bet I could see in our messages. I forgot I had to send you an image twice in a row. I search up, like, Ethan.
I don't think it'll come. We talk a lot about Ethan Slater. Jesus Christ! Fuck off. Okay, so...
Right, actually, we're close. Hold on, I'm gonna look.
The greatest... So, we have released the greatest albums of... The 100 greatest albums, or whatever, of the 21st century. Should I tell you what's at number 5?
What?
Do you want to try and guess?
Hamilton.
Yes.
Fucking knew it. Should be number 1, really.
I think is this charting or is this is this objective? Because if this is objective, then there's far too many Morgan Wallen songs. Because Morgan Wallen is number 1, and so I'm starting to think this is like stats. If that makes sense.
We met up at like 4:30. We were late, actually. You had to go to the dry cleaners.
Yeah, my mum sent me around to the dry cleaners, and so I was running.
And then at interval...
And it was hot as hell.
Yeah. At interval, I sent you to go buy me a drink.
I did.
And I had to text you because the girls in front of us, in the front row of Newsies, were talking about Jeremy Jordan, but they didn't know his last name.
Yes.
And I was like losing it. What a time.
What a day. Anyway, all of a discussion over. I'm going to call it over because we've gotten so off track. Speaking of America and SpongeBob the Musical, they would play it at Encores because it's technically a Broadway flop. And again, don't ever try and bring Oliver back to Broadway. I don't think it will go well. I think it's just inherently too British. You know, like, it could do a limited season, but I don't expect it to do a long time. What was I saying? What was I going to say? Wait, it was star Lily Cooper. That's why I was thinking about SpongeBob.
Oh.
As Nancy and Rula Sparza as Fagin. Or Bill. One of them. I don't know. I kind of get them a bit confused sometimes. And obviously there's a new production directed by Matthew Bourne. Matthew Bourne, I love you. And yeah, that's kind of Oliver.
Yeah.
That's kind of it. Next week, I know what we're doing.
What the fuck are we doing?
Triple checking. Sorry, I was just on the page that has my diss in, and so I felt like crying. Susical!
Oh yeah!
We're doing
I think this was my suggestion.
It was your suggestion, yes.
I stand by it.
I'm so excited to get into the Broadway World message boards.
Oh.
Yeah, we will see you guys next week for Susical. Follow us on social medias. Yeah, bye-bye.